The massive holographic projection loomed over every major city on Earth, its pale blue light casting eerie shadows across the faces of billions. The image showed the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Confederation, where 12 alien representatives sat in towering crystalline thrones. At their center, High Counselor Marcus, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate metallic shell, rose to address humanity. People of Earth, his voice resonated through the global broadcast, for 3 decades, we have watched your rapid technological advancement with growing concern. Your species has progressed from primitive chemical rockets to functioning quantum drives in mere decades. Such unprecedented growth poses a clear threat to galactic stability. In the United Earth Defense Force headquarters beneath Mount Cheyenne, General James Walker gripped the edge of his command console until his knuckles turned white. Around him, military officers and civilian leaders from every nation watched in tense silence. The Galactic Confederation hereby demands Earth's immediate submission to our authority, Marcus continued. Your military forces will be disbanded. Your technological development will be strictly regulated. This is not a negotiation, it is your only path to survival. Walker exchanged glances with Admiral Kate Thompson, his longtime friend and commander of Earth's growing space fleet. In her eyes, he saw the same fire that burned in his own heart. You have 7 standard rotations to comply, Marcus declared. Should you refuse? The hologram shifted to show a vast armada of alien warships gathered at the edge of the solar system. We will be forced to ensure compliance through other means. As the transmission ended, the emergency chamber erupted into chaos. Politicians shouted over each other while military leaders huddled around strategic displays. But Walker's attention was drawn to Dr. Anna White, Earth's leading quantum physicist, who sat quietly in the corner with a slight smile on her face. Something amusing, Doctor? Walker asked, approaching her station. They're scared, she replied, her fingers dancing across her tablet. Think about it, they're not demanding our resources or our territory. They want to stop our progress. We've achieved in 30 years what took them centuries. Thompson joined them, her face grim but determined. The alien fleet is impressive, but they've shown their hand too early. We've been preparing for this possibility since first contact. Walker nodded. Humanity had hoped for peaceful cooperation with the galactic community, but they hadn't been naive. Deep within underground facilities and hidden lunar bases, Earth had been developing technologies that even the Confederation couldn't imagine. Project Phoenix, White said softly, naming humanity's most closely guarded secret. It's ready for deployment? 97% complete, Thompson confirmed. We can have the entire network activated within 4 days. Walker straightened his uniform and took a deep breath. In all of human history, no moment had carried more weight than this one. Send the call. I want every reserve unit mobilized, every sleeper ship activated. If the Confederation wants humanity to submit. He allowed himself a small, fierce smile. We'll show them exactly how humanity responds to threats. As the command center burst into activity, Walker couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. The aliens thought they were dealing with an upstart species that would cower before superior numbers. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their weapons or technology, it was in their absolute refusal to bend the knee to tyrants, no matter how powerful they claimed to be. The next 7 days would change the galaxy forever. And humanity was ready to fight for their place among the stars. The next 48 hours after the Confederation's ultimatum transformed Earth into a buzzing hive of activity. On the surface, world leaders made public speeches about peace and diplomatic solutions. But beneath the peaceful facade, humanity's war machine roared to life. Deep within the lunar dark side base, Thunderchild, Dr. Anna White stood before a massive quantum computer array. The machine's crystalline core pulsed with an otherworldly blue light as it processed calculations that would have taken traditional computers centuries to complete. The Confederation's biggest mistake, she explained to the gathered military leaders, was giving us access to their quantum communication networks during first contact. They thought they were being generous, showing the primitive humans their advanced technology. Her fingers danced across the holographic display, bringing up detailed scans of the alien fleet. What they didn't realize was that we'd already developed our own quantum systems. Different from theirs. More efficient. Admiral Thompson leaned forward, studying the data. How many of their ships can we disable? All of them, White replied with quiet confidence. Project Phoenix isn't just one weapon, it's a complete shutdown of their entire command and control network. When we activate it, every Confederation ship in our solar system will go dark. General Walker, who had been silently watching from the corner, finally spoke. And our own systems? Completely unaffected. Our quantum architecture is fundamentally different from theirs. It's like trying to infect a computer with a virus meant for an alien operating system, it simply won't work. In orbit above Earth, humanity's own fleet took shape. Hidden shipyards on Mars and within the asteroid belt released vessels that had been built in absolute secrecy. They weren't as large as the Confederation's massive warships, but they carried technologies that no alien had ever seen. The Broken Arrow squadrons are in position, Thompson reported, checking her tactical display. Defense grid is at 90% capacity. Ground-based laser batteries are charged and tracking. Walker nodded, then opened a secure channel to Earth's unified command. Execute Phase 1. Across the solar system, hundreds of seemingly innocent communication satellites suddenly transformed. Hidden panels slid away, revealing arrays of quantum sensors that began mapping every Confederation vessel in unprecedented detail. In the Thunderchild base, Dr. White's team made final adjustments to Project Phoenix. The quantum computer's hum grew louder, its crystal core pulsing faster as it prepared to deliver humanity's first strike. They're scanning us, Thompson announced. Multiple targeting sweeps. Looks like they're getting impatient. A message flashed across the command screens, the Confederation fleet was moving. Their massive ships accelerated toward Earth, their weapon systems powering up. They're not waiting for the deadline, Walker observed calmly. Good. Neither are we. He turned to Dr. White. Doctor, I believe it's time to show the Confederation why they should have left us alone. White smiled and pressed her palm against the quantum computer's biosensor. Project Phoenix deploying in 3, 2, 1. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, across the vast distance of space, every Confederation ship suddenly went dark. Their engines died, their shields collapsed, and their weapons fell silent. The mighty armada that had come to subjugate Earth now drifted helplessly in the void. In the Thunderchild base, Walker watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. Send the message. On every Confederation ship, emergency screens flickered to life. The face that appeared wasn't that of a politician or diplomat, it was General Walker himself, speaking for all of humanity. To the Galactic Confederation forces, your ships are now under our control. Your weapons are disabled. Your engines are offline. This is humanity's response to your demand for submission. He paused, letting his words sink in. We suggest you reconsider your position, while you still can. As the message ended, Walker turned to his officers. Prepare boarding teams. Let's show our visitors exactly what humanity is capable of when pushed too far. The real war was about to begin, and humanity had just played its first hand masterfully. The boarding of the Confederation flagship, Star Ascendant, would be remembered as one of the most daring military operations in human history. As Earth stealth shuttles approached the massive vessel, General Walker stood in the Thunderchild's command center, watching through the helmet cameras of the boarding team. Multiple life signs detected, reported Captain Tom Reed, leader of the assault team. His voice crackled through the quantum comm as his squad moved through the ship's emergency airlock. Their internal systems are still down. Emergency lighting only. The alien crew, used to their advanced technology, had never prepared for such a complete systems failure. They had no protocols for fighting in darkened corridors with manual weapons. Humanity, on the other hand, had spent centuries perfecting the art of close-quarters combat. Contact. Reed's voice rang out. The helmet feeds showed alien crew members approaching with glowing energy staffs, ceremonial weapons that had probably never seen actual combat. The humans' tactical training made short work of the resistance. Dr. White monitored the situation from her station, making constant adjustments to Project Phoenix. Their quantum cores are attempting to reboot. Fascinating, they're using methods we haven't seen before. Her fingers flew across her console. But not fast enough. Admiral Thompson directed the fleet's movements with precision. Earth ships surrounded each disabled Confederation vessel, their crews executing similar boarding actions. 5 ships secured, she reported. No casualties on our side. Their crews are surrendering once they realize their situation. The real prize, however, lay in the Star Ascendant's command center. As Reed's team breached the final security door, they found High Counselor Marcus and his fellow representatives exactly where they expected, trapped in their own command chairs. Marcus's energy form flickered within his containment suit as Reed approached. "This is impossible," the alien leader declared. "Your species is barely out of its cradle. You cannot have developed technology superior to ours." "That's where you made your mistake," Reed replied, his voice firm but not unkind. "You judge advancement by age, not innovation. Humanity doesn't follow your rules of progression." Back in the Thunderchild, Walker opened a direct channel to the captured command center. "High Counselor, I believe it's time we had a real discussion about humanity's place in the galaxy. You cannot expect the Confederation to simply accept this humiliation," Marcus responded, his energy form pulsing with anger. "There will be consequences." "There already are consequences," Walker agreed. "But not the ones you imagined. Dr. White, show them." White activated a secondary display, revealing a network of quantum satellites extending far beyond the solar system. "While you were focused on our visible development, we were building something much more significant. We call it the Liberty Network." The display showed quantum communication lines stretching to dozens of nearby star systems. "We've been in contact with other, primitive, species you've subjugated. They've been quite interested in our methods of quantum computing." Marcus's energy form dimmed slightly as he understood the implications. "You've been arming them." "Teaching them," Walker corrected. "Showing them how to develop their own technology, free from Confederation control. The age of your technological supremacy is over." Admiral Thompson stepped forward, adding her voice to the conversation. "You have 2 choices, High Counselor. Continue this path of confrontation, which will lead to your entire power structure crumbling system by system. Or, Marcus demanded. Or work with us. Learn from us, as we're willing to learn from you. The galaxy is changing. The Confederation can change with it, or be left behind." In the Star Ascendant's command center, Reed watched as the alien leaders conferred among themselves. Their translator picked up fragments of heated debate, accusations of failure, and gradually, the first hints of acceptance. Finally, Marcus turned back to the communication screen. "Perhaps, we should discuss terms." Walker allowed himself a small smile. "A wise choice. But remember, these aren't terms of humanity's submission. They're terms for a new era of galactic cooperation." As the negotiations began, Earth's fleet maintained its defensive positions. They had won this battle not through overwhelming force, but through innovation and preparation. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was ready to help shape its new future. The Great Hall of the Lunar Peace Station hummed with tension as representatives from 27 alien species gathered for the emergency summit. It had been 3 days since humanity's stunning defense, and the shockwaves were still spreading across the galaxy. Dr. White stood at the presentation platform, surrounded by holographic displays showing the quantum technology that had changed everything. The fundamental flaw in Confederation quantum systems, she explained to the assembled delegates, was their rigid adherence to traditional methods. We approached the problem from a completely different angle. In the audience, representatives from worlds long dominated by the Confederation watched with intense interest. Among them sat the Blue Fire people, whose crystalline forms sparkled with excitement, and the cloud minds of Proxima, their gaseous bodies swirling with increased activity. But this isn't just about technology, General Walker added, stepping forward. It's about freedom. About each species having the right to develop in their own way, at their own pace. High Counselor Marcus, still required to attend by the terms of the ceasefire, sat quietly in his containment suit. His energy form had taken on a deeper, more contemplative hue. You must understand, he finally spoke, the Confederation's methods were developed to prevent chaos. To stop technological warfare from destroying entire systems. Admiral Thompson, who had been reviewing fleet deployment data on her tablet, looked up. And how many civilizations did you stamp out in the name of that peace? How many potential allies did you turn into servants? The room erupted in a chorus of agreement. Species after species shared stories of being held back, of having their natural development stifled by Confederation guidance. From her position at a secondary console, Dr. White watched the quantum network light up with signals. More ships arriving in system, she announced. Vessels from the outer colonies, and they're not Confederation designs. The massive view screen activated, showing dozens of ships dropping out of quantum space. They were a mixed fleet, vessels built by various species who had secretly begun developing their own technology with Earth's guidance. The Liberty Network was just the beginning, Walker explained to the stunned Confederation representatives. While you were watching Earth, we were reaching out. Building connections. Sharing knowledge. A delegate from the Silicon Collective, their crystalline body pulsing with light patterns, rose to speak. My people have already begun implementing Earth's quantum innovations. We've achieved in months what the Confederation told us would take centuries. This is why we didn't simply destroy your fleet, Thompson added, addressing Marcus directly. Because this isn't about revenge or domination. It's about change. Dr. White brought up a new display, showing a proposed network of collaborative research stations. We're establishing joint development centers. Open sources of innovation where all species can contribute and learn from each other. The Blue Fire representative's crystal form chimed with approval. No more artificial restrictions. No more suppression of natural development. Walker stepped to the center of the hall, his voice carrying to every corner. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. The old system of control and suppression is over. But what comes next depends on all of us. He turned to Marcus and the other Confederation leaders. Your experience and knowledge are valuable. Your desire for stability is understood. But it must be stability based on cooperation, not control. Marcus was silent for a long moment, his energy form shifting through various patterns. Finally, he rose. Perhaps, we have been wrong. For too long, we saw ourselves as guardians, protecting the galaxy from chaos. We forgot that from chaos often comes the greatest innovations. The hall filled with approving murmurs as Marcus continued, if humanity can promise to help establish safety protocols, to ensure new technologies are developed responsibly. That was always our intention, Walker assured him. We don't want unrestricted development. We want guided cooperation. The difference is, the guidance comes from all of us, working together. As the summit continued, Dr. White's quantum sensors detected more ships arriving, vessels from even more distant systems, drawn by the news of Earth's success. The galaxy was awakening, species by species, to a new age of possibility. The revolution hadn't just changed Earth's place in the galaxy. It had changed the very nature of galactic civilization itself. 1 week after the historic summit, Earth's orbital space buzzed with unprecedented activity. Ships from 24 species moved in careful formation, their crews working together to construct the first Universal Innovation Center, a massive space station that would serve as the galaxy's new technological hub. In the Thunderchild base's main conference room, General Walker studied reports from across the Liberty Network. Not everyone is happy with the new arrangement, he noted, showing Admiral Thompson a series of alerts. 3 Confederation hardliner worlds are refusing to participate. They'll come around, Dr. White replied, not looking up from her quantum interface. Especially once they see this. She gestured, and a hologram filled the center of the room, showing a revolutionary new form of quantum drive. Joint development between human and blue fire engineers. Twice the speed of anything the Confederation had, with half the energy consumption. Captain Reed, freshly promoted after the boarding action, entered the room with his own update. The Silicon Collective's ships have successfully integrated our quantum communication systems. Their entire fleet can now operate independently of Confederation control networks. High Counselor Marcus, who had chosen to remain on Earth as a liaison, watched these developments with a mix of concern and fascination. His energy form had taken on new patterns that the human scientists interpreted as signs of profound change. You must understand, he said, addressing the room, many of our people are struggling to adapt. For millennia, the Confederation maintained order through careful control of technological advancement. This rapid change. Thompson cut in, her voice firm but not unkind. Change is always difficult. But look at what we've already accomplished. She brought up visuals of the new Joint Fleet exercises. Ships of various species and designs performed complex maneuvers together, sharing techniques and innovations that had been forbidden under the old system. Dr. White's quantum sensors suddenly pulsed with activity. We're picking up something interesting, she announced. A transmission from the edge worlds, the systems we thought were empty because they refused Confederation contact. The message that played through the quantum network was unlike anything they'd heard before. The edge worlds hadn't rejected technology, they developed it in secret, following their own unique path. Now they wanted to join the Liberty Network, bringing centuries of hidden innovations with them. Walker smiled. The galaxy was never as simple as the Confederation thought. Every species, every world has its own potential, its own path to the future. In orbit, the Universal Innovation Center took shape. Its unique design incorporated architectural elements from all participating species, human efficiency, blue fire crystalline technology, silicon collective data processing, and even some reformed Confederation innovations. The hardliner worlds are watching, Marcus observed, his energy form flickering thoughtfully. When they see what we achieve here, they'll have a choice, Thompson finished. Just like everyone else. That's the whole point. Dr. White's console chimed with new data. The first joint research project is ready for testing, she announced. A combination of human quantum theory, blue fire crystal technology, and silicon collective processing algorithms. If it works. The test results flowed across their screens, showing success beyond their highest expectations. The combined knowledge of multiple species, working together freely, had created something entirely new, something that would have been impossible under the old system of separation and control. This is just the beginning, Walker said, looking out at the bustling construction through the base's observation window. Every species brings something unique to the table. Every world has its own innovations to share. Marcus's energy form brightened. Perhaps this is what the galaxy truly needed. Not a guardian to control advancement, but a foundation for cooperation. A way for all species to grow together. As if to emphasize his words, another fleet of ships appeared from quantum space, vessels from yet another hidden civilization, drawn by the promise of free exchange and mutual development. The galaxy was transforming, one world at a time, into something new and unprecedented. Humanity hadn't just won its freedom. It had sparked a revolution of innovation that would reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The warning came at midnight Earth time. Deep within the quantum networks, Dr. White detected an encrypted transmission that made her blood run cold. She immediately called an emergency meeting in the Thunderchild's command center. The hardliner worlds aren't just refusing to participate, she explained to the gathered leaders, projecting a complex web of quantum signatures. They're actively working to undermine everything we've built. They've been secretly building their own fleet. General Walker studied the data with a grim expression. How many ships? At least 300, Admiral Thompson answered, bringing up her own tactical analysis. Old Confederation designs, but heavily modified. They've been studying our quantum innovations and trying to counter them. High Counselor Marcus's energy form pulsed with distress. The Imperial faction, he said. The most conservative elements of the old Confederation. They never truly accepted our defeat. Captain Reed, who had been coordinating security for the Universal Innovation Center, stepped forward. We've detected their agents trying to infiltrate the research teams. They're after our new technologies. The massive view screen showed the Innovation Center, now nearly complete. Around it, ships from 24 allied species continued their joint exercises, unaware of the growing threat. We can't let them undo everything we've accomplished, Walker declared. Dr. White, what are our options? White brought up a new display, showing an advanced version of Project Phoenix. We've been working with the Blue Fire engineers on an upgraded quantum defense system. It's not just about shutting down their ships anymore. We can redirect their own power against them. Thompson nodded. And the Liberty Network is stronger than ever. We have allies now, ships and crews trained to work together. If the Imperial faction wants a fight. No, Marcus interrupted, his energy form shifting to a deeper hue. Let me try to reach them first. They were once my people. Perhaps they'll listen to reason. Walker agreed, but with conditions. You have 24 hours. But we're not taking any chances. Admiral, bring the fleet to ready status. Captain Reed, double the Innovation Center's security teams. As Marcus prepared his transmission to the Imperial faction, Dr. White made a surprising discovery. The Edge Worlds, she announced, her fingers flying over her console. They're offering help. Apparently, they developed specialized stealth technology during their isolation. Technology that even the Confederation never detected. How effective is it? Walker asked. Perfect, White replied with a smile. The Imperial faction won't know what hit them. The next 24 hours were tense. Marcus's message was met with silence, but quantum sensors detected increased activity in Imperial space. They were preparing for something big. In the Innovation Center, research teams from all allied species worked frantically to complete their projects. If war was coming, they wanted to be ready. Look at this, Thompson said, showing Walker a tactical display. Ships from every allied species were moving into defensive positions around Earth and other key worlds. Not because they were ordered to, but because they chose to. The Imperial faction doesn't understand what they're really fighting, Walker observed. They see technology and military power. They don't see what really matters. Dr. White nodded. Unity. Real cooperation. Every species contributing its unique strengths to protect what we've built together. The quantum sensors suddenly blazed with activity. The Imperial fleet had begun to move, their ships emerging from hidden bases across multiple systems. But they weren't the only ones moving. Edge world vessels, completely invisible to Imperial sensors, slipped into position. Blue fire ships powered up their advanced crystal weapons. Silicon collective vessels linked their combat networks. And Earth's fleet, now augmented with technology from a dozen worlds, stood ready. Walker opened a channel to all Allied ships. "This isn't just about Earth anymore," he declared. "This is about every species' right to grow, to innovate, to choose their own path. If the Imperial faction wants to force us back to the old ways, they'll have to go through all of us," Thompson finished. As the Imperial fleet approached, the galaxy held its breath. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of Earth's revolution, but the future of galactic civilization itself. The battle that decided the galaxy's future didn't begin with weapons fire, but with a whisper through quantum space. As the Imperial fleet approached the Innovation Center, Dr. White initiated her upgraded version of Project Phoenix. This time, she wasn't alone. Quantum specialists from every allied species added their own unique modifications to the system. "Imperial fleet entering weapons range," Admiral Thompson announced from her command station. The massive view screen showed hundreds of enemy ships advancing in traditional Confederation battle formation. General Walker stood calmly, watching the tactical display. "Edge world vessels in position?" "Confirmed," Captain Reed replied. "Their stealth systems are holding. The Imperial fleet has no idea they're surrounded." High Counselor Marcus made one final attempt at peace. His energy form glowing intensely, he broadcast a message to his former allies. "Imperial Command, this is your last chance. Look around you. See what we've built together. There's still room for you in this new galaxy." The response came instantly. A barrage of quantum-tipped missiles launched toward the Innovation Center. But before they could reach their target, something remarkable happened. Dr. White's fingers danced across her console. "Now," she commanded. The combined quantum defense system activated. Blue fire crystals resonated with silicon collective processors, amplified by Edge World stealth technology and coordinated through Earth's innovative quantum networks. The Imperial weapons didn't just shut down, they reversed course, their own energy turning them into glowing balls of harmless light. "Second phase," Walker ordered. Edge world ships decloaked in perfect synchronization, their advanced stealth technology converting directly into powerful shield bubbles that surrounded the Allied fleet. The Imperial forces found themselves caught in a web of their own making. "Their quantum cores are destabilizing," White reported, monitoring the cascade of system failures across the enemy fleet. "But this time, we're not just shutting them down." The Innovation Center's main array activated, sending out waves of transformative energy. Imperial ships' weapons transformed into communication arrays. Their combat systems converted to scientific instruments. The very technology they had tried to use for destruction was being reformed, repurposed for creation. What is this?" The Imperial commander's voice crackled through the quantum net. "This is evolution," Marcus replied, his energy form pulsing with newfound strength. "This is what happens when species work together instead of trying to control each other." One by one, the Imperial ships went quiet, their crews witnessing their mighty weapons of war transforming into tools of peace and discovery. The battle ended not with destruction, but with transformation. In the days that followed, even the most hardline Imperial worlds couldn't deny the power of cooperation. The Innovation Center's success had proven that unity was stronger than control, that diversity of thought and approach led to greater achievements than rigid adherence to tradition. 1 month later, Walker stood in the Innovation Center's main observatory, watching ships from across the galaxy come and go freely. Dr. White worked nearby, collaborating with a team of multi-species scientists on yet another breakthrough. "Did you ever imagine it would end like this?" Admiral Thompson asked, joining him at the window. Walker smiled. "Not an ending," he corrected. "A beginning." Marcus, who had chosen to remain as a permanent liaison between the old guard and the new order, approached them. His energy form had evolved, showing patterns never before seen in his species. "The last Imperial world joined the Liberty Network this morning," he announced. "They're already sharing some fascinating theories about quantum mechanics that they'd kept hidden for centuries." Dr. White looked up from her work. "That's what makes this all work," she said. "Every species, every world has something unique to contribute. We just needed to create a space where everyone could share freely." Outside the window, a new ship design caught the light, a vessel that combined technologies and insights from a dozen different species. It was sleeker, faster, and more efficient than anything any single civilization could have created alone. Humanity's greatest achievement wasn't defeating the Confederation, Walker reflected. It was showing the galaxy a better way forward. Together. As if in response, the quantum networks lit up with activity, more ships arriving, more worlds joining the alliance, more discoveries being shared. The age of control was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And somewhere out there, in the vast expanse of space, other civilizations were watching, learning, and preparing to join this new galactic community. The stars themselves seemed brighter, illuminating the path to a future limited only by what all species could dream and achieve together.